If you're tired of not making progress and you're ready to be the artist you know you're meant to be, you're in the right place. You're listening to the Singer's Path podcast. The Path, or Performing Artists Training Hub, will cover everything, including singing tips that actually work, advice from top industry professionals, and life-changing mindset shifts. Out with the starving artist and in with the thriving artist. I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, professional singer, actor, educator, and entrepreneur. I'm not afraid to speak the truth and stop the gatekeeping of quality information so you can actually become the artist you dream of being. So let's get on the path, shall we? Even though we're all on our own journeys, it always helps to have a guide. Hello, and welcome back to the Singer's Path podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, and today is a very special episode because on this episode, I'm also on TikTok Live right now, which is a choice because I don't know how many things I can do at once, but I've tried this once before and it was okay. It was very overstimulating, but I tried my best. So today we are going to actually be talking about how to glow up in an audition, like how to literally be effervescent and glowing. How do you get that factor of like, you just can't take your eyes off someone? And this is something that's going to be explored even deeper, even more in the brand new thing that's coming soon. Of course, if it's announced, you will hear the ad play during this episode. At the time that I'm making this, I'm trying to like teeter out like when these episodes are posted. So if you're like, we know what it is, girl, like you don't have to be so cryptic, then like, sorry about it. But the new thing is coming and it will help you on a really deep level integrate this concept of the fact that like, how do you get that star quality and how do you like legitimately book jobs and become radiant in the room? So that's going to be our topic today. But before we dive into that, two things. One, you better make sure that you go get that free Abundant Artist audio track. There's literally a free track that's a meditation that will teach you to do what I'm going to be talking about here today. And it's free. So there's literally no reason why you can't just go to the link in the show notes. If you're watching the live, go to the link tree and get that free audio track because we've been starting to get people, and this was unprompted, regardless of the fact that we've been, asking people for reviews and testimonials. But people have been like, oh my God, I love this. Like my Broadway friends love it, especially the Performer Glow track. So we're going to dive into all of that in a second, and I'm going to talk about why it works and all of that. However, before we get into that, all these people on live have been patiently waiting for 15 minutes for me to finally draw this dang raffle here. And this is the first time that I'm actually drawing a winner for receiving a free lesson with me. Now, I do this because I'm really grateful for anyone who's written any testimonials, whether it's for the podcast, right? You've written a 5-star review and you've written out something, you've taken a screenshot, you've sent it to us, or you have any of the products that you care about and love and use and you feel strongly about them. Those are all ways, if you send us those written testimonials, that's how you get entered to win a free lesson. And it's really a thank you that it's important to me that A, you like the products, and B, that it's working, and C, that I give back in some way for your time. Because sorry, now I'm responding to people on live. It matters to me. It matters that you guys feel like an actual connection and to me. And the good news about this and why it's so special to be in this first round is that if you've ever left a review or testimonial and you sent it my way and we have record of it and I responded and you're on this list, like I will hopefully be drawing this again in the future. So right now, obviously, because the list is smaller, because this is the first time we're doing it, obviously the people that have their names in there have a higher chance of winning this lesson. But your names will stay in the pool, like for the next time. So you're always going to have a chance of winning a free lesson. If you've ever written a testimonial and sent it our way and like let us know that you want to be entered, you can still do that and send us an email at singerspath@gmail.com. But just saying, this group of people, I'm assuming, is going to be a smaller pool than future groups. So, higher percentage of winning. It's just the chances are going to go down as it goes on and on and on. So if you haven't written us a testimonial or review and sent it our way, you better do so for the next time we do this. When will that be? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But we're doing it today. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, everybody hold their breath. Drum roll, please. Oh my God, that's great. Okay. Oh my God, you can't see me. No one can see me. The live is crooked. All right, we have a winner, and I'm so excited. The winner is Ilsa Bud, and that's so great because she's actually in group lessons. We love Ilsa. So Ilsa, I will be sending you an email, and I'm not making it up. It really happened. So yay! We got a winner. So Ilsa's our first winner of a free lesson. I'm so excited. So I will send you an email. I'm not going to announce your email on the podcast, obviously. Yeah. So we'll get to spend some extra time working on stuff, and it's going to be great. And I just really appreciate everybody entering your name. Just know next time, you still stand a chance to win a free lesson. And yeah. So that's so exciting. So I'm so happy that this is the first thing. Maybe I'll have my assistant make an Instagram reel and put pictures on it and the name. I don't know. I'm on podcasting time. I gotta stop just talking about nonsense. Maybe we'll announce it and make a thing so more people know about it. But I'm so happy for you, Ilsa. And now I'm going to start to lean into what we're going to be talking about on the podcast today. So if you want to stick around, that's cool. I'll still be on live. But otherwise, the drawing has been drawn and we have a winner. And I will let you know the next time this happens. And in the meantime, if you even listen to the podcast that I'm literally recording right now, go ahead, write a 5-star written review, take a screenshot, send that to us. Or if you have any of the courses, even the free stuff, write it. That'll be your entry, and then you'll be entered the win for the next time. Okay. All right. So let's get into today's episode, and that is how to glow in an audition. Now, I'm going to be so for real, okay? Learning to harness your energy in a way that's magnetic does take some practice, but you can start right now. And it has a great deal to do with, first of all, being connected to yourself and connected to your body and tapping into your fire in a sense. Now, what the hell does that mean, Sarah? Well, I hope to talk about it more here in a second. But more or less, the more connected you feel to yourself and your essence, and that confidence that you have in yourself and your skill, you can actually start to play with turning up the dial on the energy. And I'll get into literally how to do this. And again, we're making something that will take this deeper for you, literally take you step by step to be able to do this. But I'll kind of go through each of these steps. So the first thing I want to mention is how important it is to do this. So if you've ever been to a show and you're watching the show or you go to a concert and people just have this essence about them and you're just like, what the heck? What is that thing about them that I think it's so radiant. I can't take my eyes off of them, right? They're literally glowing. There's an attractiveness to them because it's there's something about them that seems to pulse. And it comes from several things, okay? Like I said, it comes to being grounded. So we're going to talk about that. I should also write this down so I'm not talking out my ass, out my butthole, which is actually currently kind of what I'm doing. So let me write down what the actual steps are. Okay, so 1, you do need a sense of grounding. 2, you need a sense of absolute confidence and authenticity. Now, we're going to talk about, again, these are things that are explored over time and built and practiced. And I can't even read my note. Okay. The third thing is then stretching the energy that you feel that's abundant inside of you outside of yourself. Okay. And then you just walk in it like some beautiful golden butterfly. Okay. That's more or less how we do it. Okay. So the first thing first is that you have to be grounded inside your body and have access to your own energy at all. Some people might be like, what do you mean have access to my energy? What does that mean? You need to be able to tap into that confident essence that is innately inside of you But sometimes, and this is where it gets tricky, and this is why there's a whole program built around this. Depending where you're at in your life, sometimes it's a big ask. It's a big ask to be like, can you be present in your body right now? Like, can you feel the feet on the floor? Like, that's a huge ask for a lot of people in their life at certain moments, because like we're all going through things. And it sometimes can feel overwhelming even to just be present with yourself, depending on what's going on. You know what I mean? And so that's what makes this like a layered step process, because, and this is why there's a whole program about it, because it has so much to do with compassion and being able to sit with yourself. Like, that's step one. And that's, again, why there's a whole program being built around this, so that you have everything that you need to harness your energy fully. Do you know what I'm saying? But I just want to acknowledge that, because like people are in different places in their life, and the world's a shit show right now. So if it is a lot for you just to be present here right now and like feel how it feels to exist in your body, and you're struggling, that's okay. Like, that's step one. And if you feel like you've been struggling in auditions because of that, because it feels like the world is like so overwhelming, you know what I mean? And it's like, how am I supposed to be like auditioning right now when all of these things are happening? And hello, again, responding on live. But when all of these things are happening, how am I supposed to show up as my best self when it feels so uncertain, so rocky? I don't know what day it is. I feel like 2025 has got me by the hair and pulled me. You know what I mean? So that's why it's step one, right? So you got to be present in your body. So what do we do about that? How, like, if you're like, I'm maybe noticing that I'm not that way and I don't know how to get there. Well, I'm going to say some basic things, but obviously taking care of yourself and like eating well and sleeping and exercising are going to be the first step to kind of being more present. And this does play into that kind of star effect. Is when you're taking care of yourself, you're going to be more whole within yourself. And then you're more taken care of. So you're going to be able to radiate more. Okay. So that's the most basic. Okay. Then I want you to practice grounding yourself. Again, grounding yourself inside of yourself so you feel safe just to be where you are. Before we try to amp up star energy and start taking over the world, okay? You just gotta be with yourself first, okay? I know a lot of people are like, I want to be famous and I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's like, you're having a hard time just sitting still and like having a normal day. All right. So, again, first step. So some more basic things you could do is like, you can literally just plant your feet on the floor. Like I'm sitting in a chair right now. Plant your feet on the floor. Literally just focus on what feels like the heaviest part right now. Is it your feet connected to the ground? Is it your butt in the chair? Is it your elbows on the armrests? Like, that's a first step of being like, okay, no, I'm here. I'm like grounded in this moment. Like, I'm present. I can breathe out and I can recognize that I'm existing here in this moment. Okay. So that's like one of the first steps of learning how to ground yourself. Now, again, in this new thing that's coming out, there will be a whole program that shows you how to ground and, again, feel safe within yourself. It's actually called Safety. And it will teach you how to feel safe even in high-risk situations, like performing on stage in front of 1,000 people, okay? But this most basic thing, I can feel my feet on the floor, I can feel the heaviest part, and I'm just breathing and I'm focusing on my breath, which is basically basic meditation. That is the beginning to creating a world within yourself that you feel safe in. And that is non-negotiable, especially if you want big things. Like, let me tell you, when you start to blow up, which is if this is something that's genuinely aligned for you and something you actually want, and you show up consistently enough on social media, like I don't want to get too much in a tangent with social media because it is a good resource, but that's not what today's episode is about. But I will tell you, if you're not doing this daily work of connecting to yourself and developing a close relationship with yourself and safety within yourself, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there, boo. Ain't nobody gonna provide that for you. And when you become more visible, or when you get the big thing, that you've been begging for? Don't you want to be able to like hold it? Don't you want to be able to like have a good time with it? Not freak out. You know what I mean? Your videos have helped me with vocal practice. I'm discovering whole new aspects. That's so wonderful, Louise. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That's great. Again, this is what happens when I'm like doing two things at once, like recording a podcast and responding on live. That's so great to hear. Listen, it can feel absolutely nuts being a performer, especially a professional performer. Our minds are a little bit wild. We're super creative. We can make things out of nothing, which is awesome. But sometimes our minds can work against us and we can be really self-critical. We can spin out. We can get anxious. We can have a hard time letting go of things. We can really sabotage our own success. Quite frankly, as brilliant as our brains can be, they can work against us just as much. That's why it's time for us to start looking at our training beyond even just being in the vocal studio or going to the gym. You need to train your mind, do that mental and emotional game so that you can stay in it longer and actually bring into fruition the success that you've been working so hard for. You need to take your brain to the gym. That's why I created the absolutely free Abundant Artist audio series. Let's get your brain, your nervous system, your subconscious mind to be on board with the success that you actually want. Let's rehearse for that. Olympic athletes rehearse the mental game of being on the field or being on the court. Why wouldn't you? If you're following your dreams and you're pursuing your dreams, this is the missing piece because you're not welcoming the success. You're subconsciously pushing it away because we're not rehearsing for the success. So go to the link in my bio, get the absolutely free Abundant Artist audio track. Let's start feeling like the artist that we actually want to be. Let's start rehearsing for that success. Stop being the artist that's just surviving, pursuing your dream, and let's start thriving. Okay, so again, establishing the safety, establishing this grounding. Let me also tell you something about grounding. Besides it, eventually, as I get to my point, eventually here, affecting that star quality and that radiance that I can't take my eyes off you, that radical presence, all of that kind of thing. The other thing that it can do, I have to pause because I forgot what I said. Wait, that happens all the time. Wait, pause. Let me remember what I said. Okay, I remembered. Okay. The other thing about needing to instill a sense of safety within yourself is so that you can be present with the teeny weeny little physical cues necessary to actually even sing the way you want to sing. That's why I'm creating this thing, because it is really, truly the missing piece. And it's not even the missing piece for like, I want fame and visibility and I want money and I want all this stuff. No, like dead ass, like half of you aren't even present enough in your body because you don't feel safe to exist there. So how are you going to mix belt with your teeny tiny little vocal folds that are this big, with all of the subtle nuance and pressure adjustment and all this kinds of stuff, if you can't even feel your feet on the ground? So that's, again, why this ends up being part of even for singers, even though this new thing isn't just for singers, it's for all kinds of artists, which I'm also psyched about. Like, even if singing isn't your main thing, or if you know someone that's a struggling artist with multiple common issues we all deal with. Again, like this safety, we want this star quality, we want this glow, and yet it can be really hard to be present. It doesn't have to be with singers, it's anybody. And if that's the case, you better make sure that you save this. You go and you join that email list and you make sure you are the first person to find out about this, because this is a big deal, okay? So anyway, so we're discovering safety and presence. Now, another way that you can feel grounding, which will then again help cultivate a sense of safety, you can literally, and there's a whole track on this in the new thing. Maybe actually, you know what? I think there's even a whole track on this called Safety and Taking Is it Safety and Taking Risks? On the free Abundant Artist audio track, actually. Now, please be aware. I recorded the Abundant Artist audio track. I love them. I think they're great, right? However, I'm not like a mental health practitioner myself, right? So that's why, again, I hired people to make this new thing so that it works even better. It's even deeper. It's all of this stuff, right? In integrity, I needed to bring on experts that like actually do this professionally, like this element of things. And I want to narrow it specifically on the scope for singers, right? So the Abundant Artist Audio Track does have a safety feature. I will say I wish it wasn't quite so fast. There's a pace to it that's a little bit quick, which I think you can totally do if you're walking. Like, I think it's actually a pretty good active, those are like really good active meditations. They're absolutely free. People absolutely love them. Again, I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the episode to make sure that you go and get that because people do love them. The Broadway people have absolutely been obsessed with them. But there's actually a safety in meditation that we'll talk about. I think it talks about what I'm literally about to say. So if you're trying to ground yourself and you are in your chair and you're feeling your feet on the ground, or even if you're walking, you can literally start to feel like if you're like grounding, rooting down, literally imagine roots growing out of your feet. We'll use a little imagination game. But like you can literally imagine like as if you're a tree and roots are growing down and taking form into the ground. Okay, that is like a hot tip. You're on the train, you're about to go to an audition and you feel very unsteady or very nervous about something. Even that visualization in itself will be mega, mega, mega helpful in starting to ground you literally into the earth, like by pretending you're literally a tree. But like breathing and imagining that in your mind, it will literally help you get centered and focused, okay? So that's another, I believe that's in the safety track that's free with the Abundant Artist Audio series. Again, if you need extra help, which I feel like we all do, you got to get on that email list, make sure that you check out the free thing. Now, the second step here then, let me just double check my notes because I wrote it down as I was going and then didn't have a game plan and now here we are. Here's the second step. Okay. We got to start to instill a sense of authenticity and confidence. So now you're like at least getting comfortable being with yourself, being safe inside yourself. Maybe you've registered for the new thing that's happening. You've gotten on that email list. You're like, I'm ready to go. I'm doing the safety and taking risks audio track. I feel safe within myself. I'm starting to feel calm. Now, because when we watch someone that's absolutely glowing and effervescent in an audition, they do have an innate confidence, right? If you see somebody out in a crowd and like someone stands out, like there's like a swag about them, right? Where does the swag come from? Well, it comes from just this unapologetic, radical presence and authenticity. Radical presence has a great deal to deal with the safety factor that I just mentioned. I feel safe to be present and not dissociate, right? So radical presence, I feel I'm here and I'm able to focus on one thing at a time. That is very magnetic to behold, okay? Second is this authenticity. What does that mean? I feel like everybody's like, just be yourself. Just be authentic, be yourself. And I remember thinking like, what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean? Be myself. Like, what do you mean? And especially as you're like younger, even in your 20s, like you're figuring that out. I think it's kind of interesting because I have a student that's preparing for the college audition process. I'm not sure if they're still on the live, but they're preparing for college audition process. And, you know, they have all these camps and all this stuff where they're talking all the time about, you know, just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Like it's easy. Just do this. What the fuck? And I remember her coming in and being like, yeah, I mean, I just feel like I just need to do this and, you know, it'll be fine. And I'm like, hey, listen, student, just so you know, it's okay if you're still figuring out what that is. If there's any college hopefuls listening to that, I hope that gave you a little bit of relief because at the time when I was auditioning for colleges and I was hearing that all the time, I felt this pressure to just like figure it out, right? Well, I have to figure this out because this is what people want from me. Versus like, no, you are where you are, baby. You don't have to like, no, I have it all figured out. I know who I am. It's like, we're always learning who we are, okay? But that's part of actually developing the authenticity and the confidence is actually accepting everything we are in this moment. So if you're someone that's going through the college audition process and it's overwhelming and it's a lot and you don't even know what the fuck they mean when they say, just be who you are, then maybe just acknowledging where you are with the safety and being like, at this moment, I'm feeling overwhelmed from this process. At this moment, I'm feeling like I don't know what's going to happen. At this moment, I don't know what college I'm going to get into or if we're auditioning, I don't know how this audition is going to go. If you can just at first acknowledge that will soften the fear around it most of the time. It's just the gentle acknowledgement. That's actually a sign of self-love because you're at least giving yourself the grace and the fucking dignity to acknowledge how it is instead of pushing it down and denying that it's happening. That doesn't help. Then that actually creates friction. That creates more friction because now you're fighting something. Oh, I can't be nervous. I have to know who I am. I can't feel this way. God, that actually creates more dissonance in the brain than just accepting where it is and being with it. Okay. So that's one of the first steps to just like radically accepting yourself and developing true confidence is truly seeing where you're at. Now, the next thing, again, confidence and safety, I think, go together because then you're going to want to start taking, like, you'll start listening to your gut, but you can only really listen to your gut once you're not listening to fear. How do you not listen to fear? Well, once you feel safe, right? Or I think this is a brief tangent. This is all over the place, folks, but we'll get to the point eventually. I think this is helpful to mention, but like, how do we sometimes differentiate between gut and intuition and anxiety? And this is like something that can really trip people up. It's like, and again, the more safety or you get in a routine of trying to quiet the noise a little bit so you can tune in a little bit more somatically into your body, which was the whole thing I brought up before. If you can start to do that, yeah, and be more present with yourself, then you'll start to be able to differentiate like what's true intuition and like truly your gut feeling and what is anxiety. And everybody's different, but I find that more often than not, true anxiety is like really repetitive and like it's more like, you know, like the anxious mosquito in, was it Big Mouth or is it Human Resources? That show that's like, oh, maybe it's like it's like a mosquito that buzzes around and the thoughts are almost obsessive, right? And very repetitive and really loud versus intuition, which is like kind of quiet. It kind of just drops in. Sometimes it's the thing that you like really know in the bottom of your heart is true. You know what I mean? But like sometimes we don't always want to acknowledge it. And yeah, she's just she's steady, but she's not like gonna badger you in the same way. Now, if it's something like your spidey senses are going off and you're in danger and your intuition's like, womp, 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 like that, it can turn up in like really powerful situations. Like I feel like if it's like a life or death situation, it can get really loud. But I think you know that. Like your body knows at that point. Like there's no like, maybe this is anxiety. Like you know. Like I feel like it overrides and it's like danger, danger. And then you're like, got it. Right. But most of the time the intuition, and I, you know, we could go into like a real spiritual lens with this too, if we wanted to. But I think it's because it's like guidance in a way, you know, it's guidance from a version of you that's guiding you or whatever. Like, and again, if I'm projecting beliefs, like you can believe whatever you want. Like I'm not trying to tell you anything. But I believe that because intuition is guidance from something trying to help you, but we have free will, that's why it's like, hey, just so you know, you could go this way. Just so you know, this is the option and you keep saying this is the thing you want. Boom. Like, go this way. But if we're not ready to hear that or we're not ready to lean into that, then an anxiety is too loud, right? We have free will. We can choose to move against it. Like that's what I mean. Like I think there's kind of two types of intuition. There's danger, you're going to die. Or there's like, oh, you're like, listen, this is something you wanted. Like, here's an opportunity. And then if you're not ready to hear it or you haven't been doing this work to kind of quiet your inner world, then you're probably going to miss it. Okay. But it'll come back. It's not going to come back in a way that's going to badger you, but she'll come back. She'll come around the mountain when she comes. You know what I mean? She'll be back. She's kind and gentle and whispery. I also feel the difference of intuition in my body. Like I feel it more in my gut. And I've also, because I've practiced a lot of safety and trust within myself from repeating all of this stuff, I know that when I go into that grounding exercise that I explained, and then I ask the question and I'm open to what the answer is, like without an agenda, I'm like, no, please, what's the answer? Show me red or green in my head, right? Or like make it clear to me, right? And then I get the answer. I have to be open to getting that answer though. If I'm still like, but I wanted it this way, then it's like, how many times are you going to ask? Anyway, I digress. Okay. So starting to listen to intuition, starting to listen to what's actually for you is a huge, huge step in developing trust and safety and actually confidence. Because what ends up happening is you start listening to your gut and you start taking actions based off of what you actually fucking want and not what your like low self-worth inner demons have been deciding for you. And then you're just spinning out on anxiety and like making choices that aren't really aligned with what you actually want. What ends up happening is that, opportunities might start coming through and then you slowly start building trust in yourself that like, hey, maybe I can listen to this intuition thing. Maybe I can just be who I am and listen to what I actually want. And that actually develops a lot of trust in yourself, which then creates confidence. And that is a huge part of the star quality that took me 30 minutes to get to. but that's it's layered. There's pieces of this. So I truly believe that confidence is actually built in truly seeing yourself and accepting yourself by not lying to yourself, but learning to take risks and have your own back. Yeah, there's a lot to chew on. Sorry, Kevin, I'm moving through a lot here. This was a sample platter and I did not have a plan. And this is what happens when I don't have a plan. But it's true. And again, it's a lot. And again, if it is a lot, but you want to be able to do it, it's a giant thing that's going to help step by step with this. So anyway, confidence, big deal, needs to be earned. And in the meantime, you also have to take action. Action builds confidence. Action builds trust in yourself. It's kind of hard in confidence, right? In taking action is going to require some bravery. Because sometimes it's like, we know what we could do, but then we like talk ourselves out of it because it doesn't feel safe. So by instilling a sense of safety, you can take bigger risks, right? But let me tell you this, when you're developing confidence and you're instilling safety in yourself, I will tell you it feels scary as fuck. That's why the safety piece is so important. Oh my God, stop. Sorry, the spam calls are unhinged at this point. Honestly, dead. Can you guys still hear me? I don't even know. On the live, who knows? Anyway, okay. So the more that you start taking risks too, that will also develop confidence. But I will tell you, when you start doing this, it doesn't feel good. It feels like it feels very scary. But again, that's slowly over time, taking risks and having your own back and catching yourself is what builds confidence. Okay? Plain and simple. Okay? So develop a sense of safety within yourself, then you will actually start to bring in actual confidence into your life because you will actually feel like you can take risks. Now, some of you will actually be quite risk averse and then just tell yourself you never need to take risks. And at that, I tell you, you're lying to yourself and you kind of sometimes just need to buckle it up and do it. So if that risk is like, for example, when we're talking about auditioning and auditioning glow eventually here, if the risk is, I don't want to send an email to a casting director because I'm so scared that they'll think I'm too much or da-da-da-da-da, and that feels like a big risk to you, then you're just going to probably have to make yourself do it. And then you'll have to learn to catch yourself and feel safe after it happens. Like, I got myself, I'm still worth love no matter what, like, I'll be okay. And then you'll probably find out on the other side, the casting director will be like, thanks. I'm like, that's it. It wasn't that bad, right? So now over time, you're starting to, when you start to take risks and you're like, hey, this is actually baller and I'm awesome at this. Over time, you'll start to have this energy. You'll actually start to be able to tune into yourself finally and notice and you can do this even right now, if you kind of close your eyes and you put your intention inward, try to see if you can find like a little light, like burning in you, like a pilot light. Now, sometimes when people do this, they feel a big bonfire roaring in there. Okay. You can actually turn inward and like, you can, what is the word I'm looking for? Not mental. You can nurture the flame. That's what I'm saying. So like you're taking risks, you're trusting yourself, you're feeling safe, you can sit with yourself. And that's that soul essence that I was talking about that we're going to need to dial the fuck up to get shit done. Okay. It's like tune into your inner light, tune into that inner flame. Now, I will tell you, and this is why I said this at the very beginning of the episode, sometimes it's hard just to be present. And sometimes that flame feels like it's barely on. That flame feels like it is a pitter-pattering, almost blown out pilot light. And if that's the case, you just are in the process of learning to build yourself back up. And I was in that process. And this is actually why I spent so much time kind of building up to this point. Because if you're not tending to the needs of just nurturing yourself and being present and like feeling safe within yourself, it's really hard to turn on the glow when you really need it. Because what you really need is to fill your cup up versus like pushing yourself too hard. Then you're just basically, you're operating on empty. And people can tell. It's like forced, right? I'm showing up and I'm pushing, I'm grinding, I'm getting there, and I need you to see me and I need this job. And there's like this desperation that happens instead of like really truly nurturing yourself and creating safety within yourself that is actually a sustainable way of then being able to expand your energy. Oh, that's amazing, Ilsa. Oh my God. I just got on live. Actually, our friend that won the drawing, group sessions have really helped me light up my pilot light. That's so great. Oh my God. I love to hear that. That's actually like the most amazing thing I could have heard, actually. I tried to push myself when my pilot light was out. And that's actually when the Mean Girls thing happened. I was like, we got to buckle the fuck up. We don't have time for this shit. I got to like book. Okay. I got to get work. And, you know, I use the Mean Girls analogy a lot for like the importance of mix and lots of things. There were lots of lessons learned, but one of the ones that is the most private is the fact that I just was like not okay. You know, I was so devastated from a breakup that actually happened like, I don't know, like 6 months prior that like sometimes I would like push myself in an effort to get the light on. But like I remember literally doing this pilot light exercise that I just talked about you. I used to have like a raging fire, like roaring inside of me. And when auditions came and I knew it was go time and I knew that like my resources, that like how confident I felt inside myself had been basically obliterated, it was pretty hard. Now, I did fake it till I made it, right? Like I faked it, but it still left me drained on the other side. So ultimately, it all led me back to the safety that I'm talking to you. And it's a slow process. But I'm glad if any of these things are sparking any kind of interest in you of like, I kind of realized that I'm on this stage, or like, I kind of realized that my pilot light's out, and like, I kind of need to do this. Again, reminder, go get the free Abundant Artist check, go check out, make sure that you're on the list for the new thing. I digress. Again, I'm just plugging those multiple times, and I probably will run another ad within this. I'm sorry, podcast listeners. It's a little bit multi-layered today, but I got other people listening live. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. So that's how I believe that we instill confidence in ourselves. So let's say that we have been nurturing ourselves and we have been feeling fire. Literally. Pookie is fire. Pookie is quintessential Aspen. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Anyway, if Pookie's feeling fire, then good. You've been nurturing yourself. You've been nurturing your confidence. You've started to understand who the fuck you are. You've strapped up. And you're ready to turn on that glow aspect. And this is that star quality that everybody talks about. And it basically, you'll start to feel that fire, that energy within you if you've started practice cultivating it. And that's what we're going to start to pull from as our light. And you're actually going to learn how to expand it outside of yourself. And actually, there's a very popular track. There's a whole track on like just this concept. I'm going to take my light, I'm going to expand it, and I'm going to make people have to look at me. Okay. That one's called Performer Glow on the Abundant Artist audio series. It is a faster track. I think that's why it also does really well in the series, because it's not intended to be slower. Like, it's intended to be faster. It makes people feel so good. I kid you the fuck not. Like, my friend who's on Broadway and has done many Broadway things, but she used it on the train when she was like on her way to an audition. And she said like when she got on the train, like no one looked at her or anything. By the time she made her commute down to get off for the audition, people were like turning their heads looking at her. Like she had like turned on her star quality. But really all she did was take her essence that she'd been cultivating and that she loves, and with confidence and that grace and self-compassion and presence, because she'd been practicing other things, she started to have that glow go outward, and people notice it when you put that focus on it and you basically you pulse it out around you. People notice. And that's the performer glow. That is an essence that you can basically get your mind and your system into before you go into an audition. And it will always leave you feeling like completely like effervescent. I swear to God. Again, I'll kind of talk through it, but like you should go actually do the audio track. It's free. I don't see why the fuck you wouldn't do it actually. But basically you're going to focus on the fire that's inside you that we talked about. And then you're going to basically meditate with it. And on the inhale, you're going to tend to it. As you exhale, you'll push like that buzz, that fire outside of you, right? And you're basically imagining it. I mean, this is all a meditation. But you can imagine casting this glow. It can then turn, it doesn't have to be fire, right? The fire is your soul, like your source, right? But you can imagine it being a golden glow. You can imagine it being sparkles. You can imagine it being a force field, like whatever you want, right? Literally, like whatever feels good, okay? Diamonds, I don't know your world, right? But whatever feels the best. I think I usually use like a golden orb. There's other meditations that you can use with like force fields and stuff for like protection. We want to feel like when you're doing this glow, like that's why it's important to, again, instill a sense of safety, because like with this glow, we want our energy going out, but we don't need anyone's shitty energy coming in. You know what I mean? So it is a little bit of a like mentally, like it's not really protection. I think it's more about casting like the good stuff out. But you know, whatever. I digress. Whatever. You can imagine it to be whatever feels good. So on every inhale, you'll imagine the light around you, or the golden light or whatever. And every exhale, you'll expand the golden energy outwards. And you can start with like just you, if you're doing this on the subway, like it starts to glow and grow with each exhale. So maybe it just starts with like just being really close to your body. You inhale, you exhale, and you push the energy out, maybe to fill the whole train car. And then you inhale and then you exhale and you push the energy out, maybe to fill the whole room you're in. If you're in your house, inhale, exhale, push it out. It's now taking up the whole apartment building. Inhale, exhale, it expands, and all of a sudden it's your whole city block. So just step by step, you start to expand this feeling of your confidence just like growing out around you. You know what I'm saying? And that is really cool to watch on people. It just like changes something about them, their essence. You're just like, whoa, what is happening? And you feel really good. The other part of the free, I think, Performer Glow track, I think this is on there. And if it's not, I'm sorry. But it's at least this exercise that I'm giving, you can do on your own. I just explained it. Okay. Or two will definitely be done step by step again in the new thing. So again, apologies if you like listen to the track and you're like, we didn't do that. Again, sorry. I'm pretty sure we did. Again, it was a while ago when I recorded this. Okay. I digress. So then there's even a little extra cherry on top that you can add. And this is called, we did this in college, and it's called threshold work. So before you go into the actual audition room, you can feel that fire inside of you and you can feel like the bubble around you beaming around you before you enter the room. So it's basically you're stating like, as I cross this threshold into this room, I am bringing my star quality. I'm bringing my glow. I'm bringing everything I'm here to do into this room. And when you walk forward with that kind of grace, it's like you're harnessing your most powerful version of self. Like you're declaring like, this is what's entering this space. And it's kind of crazy. Like when you cross the threshold, like you feel it and they'll notice too. It's great. Anyway, so those are some like key tips on how to adjust your energy for an audition, how to glow. One thing I do know about the Performance Glow free audio track on the Abundant Artist audio series is that there's also this like amazing set of affirmations. And listen, affirmations have a time and a place, but I personally believe you need to be doing something that gets you in somewhat of a different brain space in order for them to actually work, so that they hit a different set of like your brain hertz. Okay. Because otherwise, when it's your conscious logical brain and you're just trying to think about it versus like really feel and embody and like be in a flow of some sort, whether that's walking or whether you're sitting there meditating or you're on the train. Sometimes the train, or like even you're driving, but like be awake, like don't do one of the sleepy ones, you know what I mean? But any in the shower, any activity like that kind of puts your brain in a different space is going to make you so much more receptive to the actual affirmations taking hold. One of my favorite things to do is actually work out while I'm doing, Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just a comment. Loves doing the morning pages, the artist way. Yeah, of course. Like that gets you in a flow state too. Like it puts your brain in a different spot. So it's like kind of adjusting how your brain is operating and then doing the affirmations, I think ends up helping. But there's some like rock solid affirmations on the Abundant Artist audio stuff too. So anyway, if I totally, there isn't that grounding or the glow exercise, I'm pretty sure there are, but if they're not in there, they're at least in the new thing that's coming very, very, very soon, is very in depth. But that's, in a sense, I think I did like 3 podcast episodes in one. So maybe I need to break this up and like come back in a month or so and we can like dissect safety, confidence, glow. That's probably a better way to do this. This was a sample platter, everybody. Yeah, these are actually these are very in-depth subjects. But yeah, I think people are always like, what is it about her? Why is she glowing? Well, she's either a narcissist and doesn't give a shit what other people think and is all about herself anyway, which there are those. Or she has such a sense of safety and worth inside of her because of how she was raised or the inner work that she's done or any of that, or maybe she's born with this sense of, self-worth. Although I think it has a great deal to do with how you're raised and how, you learn to believe in yourself. I think that has to do with it too. But I really think it comes down to safety and feeling radically present in the moment. That is thrilling. Has anyone ever watched a baby? Like how fascinated they are with like everything around them. It's like really hard for adults to just be living moment to moment. That's a huge part of the star quality. I think that's why you look at so many great actors and artists who just get lost in their art, and we get lost in it with them because they are so present with what they're doing. You know what I mean? Versus someone that's like caught up in thinking about all their other shit and all their limiting stories and all their subconscious, even if it's not conscious, right? Like it's like it changes their energy versus someone that's like completely surrendered and just there and having a good time. Those people are always magnetic. So with all of that, that was a very loop-de-loop episode. Whoops. Oh, well, welcome. I also haven't posted. I'm going to post on the podcast after this. I have an episode queued at the moment. But the moment that anyone on the podcast is hearing this would have already posted. But for the live, I'm so sorry that I have not been uploading episodes. I've been, again, doing so much work on the back end, and we've been batching episodes, but I haven't actually posted any of them. So again, for the people on the live, thank you so much for listening to me do this recording. Congratulations to Ilsa for winning the free lesson. I'm going to summarize again. This is probably the 5th time I'm saying this, but we need repetition, babies. make sure you get the free Abundant Artist audio track. It is linked below. It is in the show notes of the podcast. It is absolutely in the link in my bio on the live. And you better make sure you're on that email list because you are not going to want to miss this thing. Okay. And with that, on the podcast, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Again, if you want to be considered next time for the drawing, make sure that you leave us a 5-star written review, take a screenshot of it, send it to singerspath@gmail.com, and we will make sure to enter you into the next drawing so you can win a free lesson. And with that, thank you so much for joining me on this very windy road of an episode. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. This helps me get this information out to more artists all over the world. Let's work together to spread the joys of music. Until next time, I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, signing off from the Singer's Path podcast. Thanks for listening.